Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy New Year to you. I've just got a warning about the battery power on my phone, so that's exciting. We'll probably try and keep this quite short, which is, yes, admittedly, sometimes something I say before these things, but there we go. This is it for 2022, the last video verdict of the year. Thank you all so much for watching, engaging with these, being a part of them over the course of this year. It means a lot. It makes it worthwhile, because if I just sat talking to myself, it wouldn't be much fun. So I do really appreciate it. The last 48 hours have been a bit tricky. One of those where you probably just sort of shut off some of the stuff people say about you. So we'll you know, when you feel like there's so much you could say, but I'm not going to say it, and then I shouldn't probably say that. Anyway, let's move on to the football, shall we? I've got Gabby Sarah behind me. There he is. Not really. It's a big thing. He was good tonight. And of course, a lot has happened since we last had a game of football in a very short space of time since Boxing Day, with Dean Smith being sacked, Alan Russell and Steve Weaver being in charge tonight, and all eyes really being on what that would mean for Norwich City and what that would look like. I think what it looked like, a really interesting evening, because there was the football match going on, there was the atmosphere in the stands, and then there was also some of what was being said on social media, because obviously people are watching the game externally as well. So for me, I would say Norwich were clearly trying to move the ball forward quicker. There was more of a dynamism to cross the ball, to get it forward quicker. I thought at times that meant that the quality into the final third, and especially the quality in the final third, was a bit rushed. It was from a greater distance, and it required precision that was a degree harder because of the way Norwich were doing it. It was a bit chaotic, and Norwich's best moments kind of happened on the counter in that kind of construct. They had some really nice moments in that, and they did play well in fits and starts. But there were then the same muddly bits. The first minute was complete carnage. We know that Alan Russell is an attacking coach. He wants attacking footballers. He started with Josh Sargent, Adam Idah, and Tim Pukki from the start in a 3. It was basically a 4-3-3. It was nice to see Nunez and Sarah playing from the start together. And as I said, I thought Gabby was good. Good, and there was genuinely a threat. I thought the start of the second half was as poor as it got. Actually, I thought that was quite sloppy, and Reading were on the front foot. And actually, the opening goal, came with the real moment of quality at a time when Norwich were struggling a bit. And that was a big dynamic shift, getting that goal, because I think Norwich were them. But then, without really looking like going on and scoring the second, I thought they were moving the ball a bit better, and there was a bit more construct in their play, and they're actually, to a degree, a bit more in control of it. The goal was a really smart goal, with lots of people's heads, and the finish from Adam Idah on his first start in a long time, and it was a really sharp finish. And there is a young man who A, needs that, and B, it would just be lovely if that marked the start of 2023, where he could really, really take on the rest of this season and hit new heights, because the heights we've all hoped from him just haven't materialised for various reasons, many of them fitness related. So that would be a real positive thing to see. But Norwich didn't win, even though they probably did deserve to. I wouldn't say Reading were completely devoid of deserving a point necessarily, but I think Norwich probably did deserve more to have won the game. It was Guinness Walker who his substitute produced a good run that got into the box. It kind of tied Max Aarons up a little bit, but he sort of ran past Kieran Dowell, who come on, and I think he stood on his foot and went down. If you stand on someone's foot, it's not really a penalty, especially if they've not deliberately put their front foot in front of you. But Mr. Webb, the referee today, was fairly inconsistent. a bit difficult to pin down. And one of my favourite moments, besides Alex Ray basically man-marking Sam McCallum from taking a throw, and then Jordan Hugill trying to wrestle him, Alex Ray being in the Reading dugout, which I hadn't realised until he got involved. And then there was sort of hilarious banter between them, having a go at each other. So it was that, and the other funny moment was referee David Webb, I think it's David Webb, complaining to Grant Hanley to stop all the Norwich players surrounding him with every bad decision he made, because if he wants to make bad decisions, he should at least be allowed to make them in peace. So there we go. I mean, that was that's it was a bit of caring from Norwich in that respect. There certainly was a bit of care and a bit of energy. Andy Carroll tucked away the penalty, and Norwich had their own penalty shouts. I thought the one where Hendrick pushed Teemu Pukki late on was a pretty decent shout. I also thought from the very first minute, Junior Hoylett was allowed to run from a Norwich corner into the penalty area, where he was side down right on the edge by Grant Hanley, which was kind of what I was fearing from Alan Russell's attacking lineup, was that they might be a bit open on the count, all the time. That was a foul that took place right on the edge, and could have been a penalty, could have been whatever. But it was neither. I think it was a free kick on the edge of the box. So yeah, that was the game. I thought there were some really good performances. In general, I didn't see a massive change in the quality of Norwich's performances, because I know a lot of you thought the football was dull at times, but there was still quality on show. As most of you will know, there were moments in each game when, especially here, when Norwich looked very good. I didn't really see much difference, but I also appreciate people want to see positivity, and I could see that as well. And there were some good performances in there. The one big difference was the atmosphere. That was the one thing that people wanted to be different. I thought the supporters, they applauded generously, quietly maybe, at halftime and full time. Both interim managers went out and applauded the fans. The players applauded. There was just a more conducive atmosphere to people pulling in one direction and the same direction. So this time it was probably the quality on the pitch that cost Norwich 2 points, because ultimately they've got 2 games under interim charge, and they can't really afford to drop many points, because the gap to the top 2 is already huge, and maybe at this point we are only talking about reaching the playoffs anyway. So maybe that's the construct of where we go from here. Norwich's managerial search, head coach search, continues. I'm not necessarily expecting anything newsworthy. New headphones in the new year, maybe. I'm not expecting anything particularly newsworthy, probably until we get to the Watford game, which is on Monday, 2nd of January. Maybe it'll be after that. Certainly, there's a possibility of an appointment then in those next couple of weeks before Norwich play at Preston, I think. In the league, they've got a visit here from Blackburn in the FA Cup, of course, in the middle of those things. And yeah, I think that's it really. Alan Russell and Steve Weaver in the dugout were fun. I commented on how excellent I thought Alan Russell's outfit was, and he sort of gave me a. But he went for the debonair manager, and Steve Weaver was in his tracksuit and hasn't done either of the press. So that's interesting. They will get the Watford game. Watford are imploding a little bit in terms of their form, so that will be quite an interesting game at Carrow Road here in a few days' time. We'll see who's fit. Todd Cantwell, Dimia Nulis were both fit but not selected. Sam McCallum came off with cramp. One other player had cramp as well. Can't remember who it was now. Might have been Nunes. So we'll have to see who gets the gig. Come the Watford game. No Aaron Ramsey, who has had surgery, as I wrote in my piece on Tuesday night around Dean Smith's sacking on The Athletic. So he's going to be out for a month or 3, and they'll have to see what happens there. But they're expecting his rehab to be at Aston Villa. No particular decision on that cancelling the loan. So I guess, of course, if Aaron is then fit to play from the end of March, April, then he could still have a big say, especially if Norwich are playing in the playoffs. So you could understand why they might want to keep that door open, even if Dean Smith isn't still the manager. Who will be the new manager? I don't know. I'll keep trying to find out. Someone may know before me. That's fine. But obviously I'll keep you informed as best I can. But that's me done. Have a brilliant end of this year. Enjoy your Happy New Year celebrations, whatever they are. Look after each other. And thanks again for all your support and comments over the course of the year. I'll get rid of that. And if you so wish to continue following my content in the new year, then I will be here in the usual places. And the On the Ball podcast will be back not on the Monday of the Watford game, but the Monday after that. So that will be exciting. And I will leave by giving a shout out to Vince and Josh, who are all the way over from Australia to take in this game. It was Josh's first game at Carrow Road ever. So he got to see a goal, and they both got to see a half-decent atmosphere. So thank goodness for that. Hey, right, take care of yourselves. Happy New Year. Have a nice little break. And here's to 2023, when things can only get better, but they could get worse. Who knows? We'll see in the next thrilling instalment. See you later. Jim's going to wave goodbye to end off the year. Thanks, Jim. Bye, Jim. I'll leave you with Carrow Road. Good night.
No, just went home.